Lighttake.com has sent me some more 2x2s to review for them. So there's 4 of them in total. And the first one I'm going to be reviewing is the Guo Jia 2x2 51mm. It's got a bit of a weird color scheme. It's very bright and has pink instead of red. The contrast between pink and orange is alright. The contrast between blue and green is fine, but personally I don't really like the color scheme, but that isn't really a major factor in the cube. The body is kind of a semi-transparent white. Well, it looks kind of semi-transparent, but it isn't actually see-through, so I'm sure it'll be fine in WCA competitions. Although turn speed isn't really one of the biggest factors in choosing a cube because it's easy to make it faster or slower depending on your preference, this cube is generally quite slow. You can probably hear that it's got quite a coarse turning feel, and there's really quite a lot of resistance. I've tensioned this and lubed it to be what I thought was the best setting, and it's still really quite slow to turn. The corner cutting on this 2x2 also isn't very good. Obviously you can't do 45, but even if you go to here, you can do it, but then to there, it struggles. So there's very little space in the middle, which means that really you can't do any reverse corner cutting more than like a couple of degrees, and the normal corner cutting isn't very good either. This cube also isn't great in terms of lockups. If I do some turns, it does catch quite a lot, and there aren't any major lockups that really stop you from turning it or anything, but it still does catch and makes it quite hard to solve with. The cube's mechanism somewhat resembles that of an Eastsheen, which I'm not sure people will even know what it is anymore, but it was an older 2x2 that used to be the popular one and didn't even have screws or springs, but in today's standard it's really quite slow, and this mechanism, from what I remember, looks quite similar to the Eastsheen's mechanism, which could be why it locks off quite a lot. Popping, I'm not sure if it's a problem. I haven't really used the cube enough to tell, but generally I wouldn't really consider that. As long as it isn't going to pop regularly, I wouldn't be too worried. Honestly, overall this isn't a very good 2x2 at all. It's mainly just a cheap 2x2. It's $3 on Lighttake. So if you don't care about quality at all, then you could spend $3 on this if you're not too fussed. But really, it turns badly and can't cut corners, and I can do a practice solve with it. As you can see, there are lots of lockups in that solve, so I wouldn't really recommend this cube unless you just want to spend $3 on a really cheap cube and you can't find anything else.